Cedric, we have to get back to the cup. Now!
What are you talking about? Harry, what is it?
Get back to the cup! Who are you? What do you want?
Kill the spare!
Avada Kedavra!
No! Cedric!
Hey, howdy, hey, guess Potterheads and whatever you Twilight crew call yourselves. Wolfman for Sound Dasher. First of all, I'm not got any decorations up yet because it's quite early in December, and also I'm recording this quite early in November. so yeah, that's why I've got no Christmas decorations up at the moment. But yeah, let's talk about this. So throughout the noughties and the early 2010s, we've come to know the fantasy genre on the big screen. A lot of different films based on books have been adapted to the big screen, some being successful, but many of them not being as successful in terms of that they're just not all that well done, and the filmmakers didn't really get their heads or acts together in trying to make these films, particularly the ones that are coming of age films, because the whole idea of the coming of age films is that you have to keep the thing going, because otherwise the actors are going to get too old way too quickly, as the people behind Harry Potter learnt, but nevertheless they were committed. So yeah, but out of the fantasy genre, even though the fantasy genre is nowadays a staple on small screen TV thanks to Game of Thrones and other similar shows, it's became the two main fantasy franchises that actually did do really, really well. Obviously Lord of the Rings did well as well, but we've already talked about that. Were Harry Potter and Twilight. Now, there's always been this whole sort of battle between which franchise is better, because fandoms have always been at war with one another when they've got two franchises that are quite similar, although in this case they're not really all that similar. Yes, they're based on books, yes it's a female author, and yes it does feature characters that are quite good looking, or rather actors and actresses that are quite good looking, and some that are very talented, but you do sometimes question why they've given the roles that they have, such as Michael Gambon being the new Dumbledore, who basically did not read the books at all and just did his own take on Dumbledore.
Everything is a conspiracy theory!
I protest!
Harry!
I protest!
Harry, you put your name in a goblet of fire.
No, sir.
You asked one of the oldest students to do it for you?
No, sir.
You're absolutely sure?
Yes, sir.
And of course he is lying.
The hell he is! The Goblet of Fire is an exceptionally powerful magical object. Only an exceptionally powerful Confundus charm could have hoodwinked it. Magic way beyond the talents of a fourth year.
You seem to have given this a fair bit of thought, Mad-Eye.
It was once my job to think as dark wizards do, Karkaroff. Perhaps you remember.
This doesn't help, Alistair. Leave this to you, Barty.
The rules are absolute.
On Dumbledore. And Michael Sheen, I hope that's his name. Yeah, I'm going to assume that's his name. Appearing in Twilight, of all things. It's like, why? But anyway, so I guess I should talk about each franchise first to begin with. Just a brief summary, because I've already talked about Harry Potter enough, and Twilight I've not talked as enough. So yeah, let's do that first. So Harry Potter, to begin with, is a coming-of-age story about a boy whose parents got killed by this mass murdering dark wizard, and he grows up with his aunt and uncle, who are muggles, who are basically human beings that are basically not got any interest in magic, or don't hear or heard of it, and just are treated like normal individuals. And Harry eventually goes to Hogwarts, where he learns the arts, the school, the witchcraft, wizardry, and all the stuff in the magical world, in a preparation for what would eventually be a fight against this being called Voldemort, who is part of this prophecy where where neither live while the other survives, so one of them has to kill the other in the end, although other shocking revelations are revealed throughout the series. It's had a total of 8 films, as well as three films that are set as prequels and spin-offs, although many people don't consider Fantastic Beasts all that good anyway. Well, except for the first one. And it did really well as a franchise. It brought a lot of stars from the UK, including Scottish actors, Irish actors. I think there were Welsh actors in there as well, and obviously actors that were based in England. And it's a coming-of-age story. You can learn a lot from the characters, and while J.K. Rowling's views are always going to be controversial, no matter how you see it, you can definitely say that you can learn a lot from the world of Harry Potter, even though the Harry Potter films are technically not really following the books properly. They are following the books, sure, but there are things that were in the books that you don't see that weren't in the books, but you see in the films, because sometimes things work better on screen than they do in the books. So yeah, and it's done really well for itself. Twilight, on the other hand, I'm not that really keen on Twilight. I'll just make it clear. I gave it the benefit of the doubt. I watched all the films, but I just could not get into it at all. And I know I'm not the only one that thinks that, but in my honest opinion, the whole thing about Twilight, it just feels like it's trying to be about relationships, how to deal with relationships and everything, which is fine if you need that sort of advice. But if you need relationship advice, I'd say actually go to a proper professional to talk about that instead of watching those films. But from what I can remember of Twilight, it's about a girl called Bella who or whatever her name is, who falls in love with this vampire dude, and also falls in love with this werewolf dude. They have a fight. They try and make up, and then there's this big grand fight, and yeah. You can probably tell from my description of that franchise that I have zero interest in Twilight, and you be correct. I have zero interest in it, and I don't like it all that much. So let's move on from that. So a few things that both these franchises have in common. Obviously, they're both based on books. They both had an ending that was basically the final book split into 2 films. They both feature stars that are sort of young actors that haven't been in much or didn't really get into stardom until starring in these films. Some of this cast have revealed their flesh on screen, which is always which for some people like myself, I'm always a sucker for, because I like seeing abs, I like seeing curves. Obviously, but I know in Harry Potter it was really just Daniel Radcliffe himself that did that at least twice or 3 times, I think. Whereas in Twilight, Robert Pattinson and Taylor Lautner did that a lot as well. So yeah. But anyway, obviously they're both for the fantasy genre, and the actors that were not as well known when they started appearing in these films have now become much more well known than they were beforehand, and have gone on to do probably more serious roles, to sort of distance themselves from the franchise at large. Although a lot of actors, particularly those that starred in the Harry Potter films, do remember their time fondly. So not all bad. So yeah. And I will say this: I do kind of blame Harry Potter indirectly for Twilight being a thing, because as you all have seen in the opening clip, Robert Pattinson did in fact appear in Harry Potter before appearing in Twilight. He appeared in Goblet of Fire as Cedric Diggory, who died, as you may have seen. And so I guess in a way Twilight's existence is blamed on Harry Potter indirectly, because Robert Pattinson was in that film, and that's made the filmmakers of Twilight bring him on board. Although I did hear that most of the cast on Twilight weren't really that keen on the books anyway, and just did a poor performance on purpose, just because they wanted to see it crash and burn. So yeah. So yeah, it's it's pretty much a no-brainer this time. I prefer Harry Potter over Twilight. I don't agree with the controversial views of either author. I don't agree with the controversial views of Stephanie Meyer, and I don't agree with the controversial views of J.K. Rowling. But, you know, I tend not to get too involved into politics and woke stuff, as I mentioned in a previous video, because I'm just not that interested, and I don't really care for either. So yeah, so if you want a good film franchise where you can actually can learn something from it, whether it's from the books, from the games, or the films, Harry Potter's the one to go for. Whereas if you just want to watch something about relationships, or just want to see some dude get shirtless every scene he's in, which, you know, is a turn on for some people, then Twilight's the one for you. But personally, in my opinion, Harry Potter is the best one, and that's all I'm going to say on that. At risk of causing the fandoms to clash again, because I know it's been a while since the fandoms did clash over which is better, I'd say, you know, draw your own conclusions in the comments below about which franchise you think is the best one. I've already made my opinion known, and I'm not going to change it no matter what you say in the comments or wherever, because it's my opinion, and I'm not going to change my opinion just because some person doesn't like it. So, yeah, just be clear on that. Right, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you'd like to see more of my videos. I upload videos at various times daily in the BST/GMT time zone. Vlogs like this where I talk about things pop culture, talk about how life is, and do vlogs. Do hauls as well in vlogs, so I do those. I also do gameplay videos where it's straight up gameplay, no commentary whatsoever, usually just following along a game that's long and I want to play from beginning to end in several videos, with some editing and memes thrown in for good measure. Let's plays where I just play a game, where I usually just play a game just the one time and maybe return to it at a later date. Usually with the camera on and everything, we just play and see how we get on with that. And also do shorts celebrating anniversaries of franchises, films, and celebrity birthdays of celebrities that I like. Do polls as well, just helping the channel out, and occasionally on other things as well. But yeah, that's what I do on this channel. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you want to share with your pals, do so. If you want to leave a comment, do so. See you in the next one. Peace to you all. And no matter which franchise you choose to like more or don't like, or don't like more, do not be forced to choose one over the other just because some dude decides to put pressure on you. You know, draw your own conclusions. If you like Harry Potter, you like Harry Potter. If you like Twilight, you like Twilight. If you don't like Harry Potter, you don't like Harry Potter. If you don't like Twilight, you don't like Twilight. It's down to you what you decide you want to go over. Whether you like both of them, don't like both of them, like one or over the other. Yeah. At the end of the day, you decide what you want to do. Don't let anybody else decide for you. No one should be forced to choose something that if they don't feel comfortable choosing. So yeah, because personally, I've had a lot of bad experiences of people with controlling behaviour. So yeah, don't feel forced to choose something if you don't want to choose something. So yeah, right. Toodles.